Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EC Writers Team Call. We have every Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I know, as I was just saying, we had a little bit of a scare last night. We had some bad storm weather, but the weather is clear tonight. It looks like everybody has decided to join us, so we're excited about that. We have a fantastic guest on tonight from, actually, she's from Delaware. And but I'm not going to steal the host's thunder and tell you all about her. But it's going to be a fantastic call. I'm so looking forward to it. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce our host. If you're not familiar with this gentleman, Richard is an executive consultant in our business. He is a 5-star trip earner, and he's been in the business for, I think, about 7 years now. And he's what you would call financially free, which means at the end of the month, all his bills are paid whether he works or not, which is something I think we're all looking forward to. He is a businessman in his own right. He owns several Dickey's barbecue restaurants. He has a music box business. He's a musician. He is just incredibly talented and creative. He's brought us the 3x4 and the Purge calls on Sundays. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend and mentor, Mr. Richard Laidler. Richard, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic. Did you survive the storms last night?
I slept straight through. I never heard a thing. Not even the
You know
alarm.
what? Isn't that the funniest thing? Everyone says, "Oh my gosh, did you hear the sirens?" And they hear these, clap of thunder or whatever, and they're awake. I'm telling you, I like you. I slept through the whole thing, and my poor wife had no choice because I'm sure she couldn't hear the storm over my snoring. So,
Well, yeah, that was probably the case in my house too. Normally, I'm the first one up. And my son
You're snoring or his?
No, his. And my son was sleeping at the side of my bed. I woke up this morning and his blankie was there. So I guess he was so scared he came in, but I never heard a thing.
No, me neither. Anyway, thank you very much for getting everyone on the call and emceeing the call as you do all the time. You do such a great job. Thank you very much. You are the best. And welcome, everybody, to the EC Writers Team Call. It is a team call for, we call it the EC Writers Team Call, but pretty much anyone who is in the Ambit business who enjoys the format of these calls is always welcome, of course. And we'd like you to join us for a nice cup of tea. And I got my cup of tea here, being English. Hopefully my guest has her cup of tea as well. It's right here. Hold on. Nothing like a nice cup of tea. Cures everything. And my mum always said, if you ever have if you have a boo-boo or you have a bad day or the wife shouts at you or whatever, have a cup of tea and everything's all right again. And it's true. Absolutely true. Anyway, the purpose of these calls is we want to, there's all sorts of calls that go on around the Ambit business, and all of them are wonderful calls. There are motivational calls, there are informational calls, and I would suggest that everyone on the call, kind of has a look around and finds out what other calls are on and just listen in to other people's calls and just to get a feel for what other people are doing. And in fact, this is one of the reasons why I brought the guest on tonight that we have, because she is from a different area of the country and she can talk from a different perspective for those of us who are down here in the DFW area. But first of all, I want you to all congratulate yourselves for taking an hour of your time out to dedicate to your Ambit business. This is a little different than what we do on Sunday. Sunday's very specific on our Purge calls where we're talking about what to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What we do is we bring on very accomplished experts in the business, and I like to get to the nitty-gritty. I like to ask the questions that everybody wants to ask. I ask, we find out about the person, then I want to know what went wrong. I want to know the bad stuff. I want to know the great stuff. I want to know all the just the vulnerable stuff. So because we all have it, sometimes we listen to a call and it sounds like everything's rosy, but I promise you, I'm telling you, I don't know one Ambit consultant who's had everything go absolutely perfect first time. So, and I no doubt the guests that I have on tonight, in fact, I know them very well, so I know their background, but a lot of you guys won't. But I want to get straight to the purpose of the call, which is to bring our guest onto the call. And I cannot talk more highly of this particular guest, only because she and her husband are great friends of mine. I much prefer her to her husband. You know, he's a nice enough bloke, but, you know, he kind of gets in the way a little bit. Kim and I are having a great conversation. He's just always trying to get in on the conversation. He's got nothing valuable really to say. The only reason why I'm saying that, I know he's listening. I know he's listening. But let me just brag on this couple real quickly. And he really likes to remind me of this bragging because they've got 2 5-star trips under their belt, and I only have one, and he always rubs that in with me, which is always. Well, there are 2 of them, so I guess we can divide it by 2, so we're kind of all equal. But they're also members of the Comma Club, 6-figure income earners, Pure Energy Award winners, top recruiters, 2 Success from Home magazine covers. There's also a featured article in one of the Success from Home magazines. And in fact, Kim, when I get you on the line, perhaps you can tell us which year that was. I'm not sure if it was this year or last year, but we can cover that in a second. Personally, Kim is also a college marketing professor, Bible study teacher, motivational speaker, masters in business, masters in marketing from Johns Hopkins University, a Bachelor of Communications from Towson State University, and I truly feel that I need to curtsy when I speak to this person, having read that, because I didn't even know a lot of that stuff, so that's really awesome. And there's one more accolade here that I think her husband put on, because it says, also she has a wonderful husband. So I think her husband put that little bit in, but again, you know, we'll just leave that to one side for right now. But let's get her on the call right now, because she's one of my, probably, if not the favorite person for me in Ambit. Executive consultant Kim Clark. Are you there, Kim?
I am, and I should be your favorite.
I can hear you. I can hear you in the background giggling away as I was saying.
I can't keep quiet. Oh, you're the best. That was a great introduction. I'm blushing. You're very kind, and of course, anything for you. It's our pleasure.
You say
to join
the
in this
sweetest
call.
things. Yes. Well, just so you know, Kim, I really like this call to be kind of like a two-way thing. Some calls are like, okay, Kim, off you go, and you'll go for half an hour, whatever. I like to kind of make this a two-way thing, because then I can kind of, if there's something that's kind of really poignant, I can kind of dive in and delve into that, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Because I'm going to throw you under the bus too. I'm going to ask you all the questions that everyone wants to ask.
Sure.
And the one thing that I know is all the ECs and NCs that I interview, I ask the tough questions like, you know, what was it like when this went wrong? And everyone's totally willing to answer the question. It's just that I don't usually get asked the questions because people don't sometimes, you know, they think, oh, well, you can't say this. No. I am motivated by vulnerability. I'm motivated by someone saying they took 6 months to get to RC or whatever, and now they're an NC. But anyway, people are tired of listening to me talk. They want to hear you talk. Kim, please, would you just let everybody, I've kind of done a fairly big intro there, but could you kind of just let us know a little bit about you and Ron and obviously your family situation and
Sure.
Just a little bit about who you are so we can all get and what area you're in, of course.
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit, that'd be great.
Oh, my pleasure, Richard. And of course, anything for you. We are from Delaware. We are the first executive consultants in Delaware, top income earners. There is another executive consultant in Delaware. He's in our downline, and we are just super thrilled for him. He's our chiropractor, actually, and is blowing us up, so we're very excited for him. We had a national insurance agency, Life and Health, prior to this, and we had actually a huge increase, 42% increase in one of our largest operating expense. And those of you who do not own your own business, well, actually with Ambit you do, but those of you who have not owned a traditional business prior to Ambit or while you're in Ambit, that was pretty devastating to our business. So we had to look for an alternative for this operating expense as well as look for another source of income. And this was in 2012, so we were kind of still reeling from the 2008 kind of just yuckiness. And we really were praying for a recession-proof source of income. And we just kept coming back to energy deregulation. So the funny story is, I don't know if you're even aware of this, Ray Monty and my husband worked together when Excel exploded and telecom deregulated back in the day. And they worked with a gentleman by the name of Jordan Blank. Ron and Jordan pretty much ran the Philadelphia area, and Ray the New York and Long Island area. And they would just work together as leaders as as these two gentlemen just naturally would because of their dissimilarities and work ethics. And when energy deregulated, of course, Ray came on board with Ambit, as most of you know that story. And when Pennsylvania was about to open up in the Philadelphia market, Ray called Jordan Blank, who's now in Colorado living on this like 220-acre cattle ranch, and said, hey, look, who do you know in, Philly? And, Jordan's like, look, everybody I know is pretty much gone. And so he gave him three numbers. The first one was disconnected. The second number was a gentleman by the name of Tony Elliott. He signed up to be a consultant, and he did fairly well. He's had some serious health issues and had to really back off. But the third number was Ron. And when Ray called Ron, kind of the conversation kind of went, hey, Ron, this is Ray, how's it going? And he said, and Ray, Ron said, okay, great, what can I do for you? In his usual curt self. And Ray had said, hey, what do you know about energy deregulation? And Ron said, let me stop you right there. And this was before we had that huge increase in our operating expense. He said, look, I'm sure whatever you're doing, Ray, you're doing well, but I have no interest in energy deregulation, and literally hung up on him. So and then 2 months later, we get this huge increase, and then we're like praying about industries, and we just kept coming back to energy deregulation field because we knew how much money, Ron had made. He had made millions in the telecom deregulation. He thought, man, that bill was $10 to $30 a month for long distance. This bill is $100 to $300, depending on where you live and the time of year, for energy. I added zero to what I made. This is huge, and we all know that energy deregulation is the largest of the four major industries to regulate. You had railroads, airlines, and of course telecom. And energy is the largest, all four of them combined. So so we were kind of like, well, this could be really big. So we researched like we were going to buy the top 7 players in the energy deregulation field, and Ambit just kept coming head and shoulders above the rest. We looked at the marketing, we looked at the executive core, we looked at the benefits to the consumer, yada, yada, yada. And so we signed up. So Ron, because of his insurance licenses, signed me up. So, Ray calls me out of the blue and says, hey, and he was going to, call Ray after lunch. We were just sitting down at lunch, and Ray calls me and says, oh, hey, Kim, welcome to my team. How'd you hear about Ambit, and how'd you hear about me? And I had said,
because he doesn't know, obviously didn't know you to connect.
Married. Yeah, we had no idea we were even married. We were looking at this, and I was like, hey, Ray, great to talk to you on the phone. Let me put you on the phone with Ron. And Ron's like, and Ray gets on the phone. He's like, you dog, like, you totally hung up on me. You're totally married. Like, what happened? Like, Ron kind of filled him in on everything that was going on with us. And because Ron did say, if anyone I want to come under Ray. This guy is just phenomenal. And he's just got incredible, work ethic and systems. And this is the guy I want to partner with. And so Ray had talked to Ron and said, look, really Jordan Blank gave me your number. So the right thing to do is to move you underneath Jordan. And we, of course, said, yeah, we want to do the right thing. And Jordan now makes like $50,000 residual on our income alone, and we're his MC coach, and like he doesn't even know his websites. He still calls me. He's like, Kim, where's my website? And I'm like, are you for real? Like, seriously? Like, you've been doing this 5 years now. So it's kind of this is our inside joke. And so Ron was asking Jordan, like, okay, you're our sponsor. Like, how often do you work our business? And Jordan said, oh, yeah, 2 hours a month. And Ron goes, really? What do you do? Wow. He goes, well, I call you every week for half an hour to see how our business is going. And I'm like, oh,
he doesn't do anything else? He doesn't do anything else in his business?
No. I think he's still an RC. He's like, I'm going to be the first yellow jacket wearer RC strictly because of you. So
that's amazing. I know you're going to carry on a little bit, but I just want to point something out there because you kind of went over it real super fast because I know you tell that story regularly. But guys on the call, listen to what Kim was saying. She has one person, right? Oh, no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Kim and Ron are in this gentleman. What's his name again?
Jordan Blank.
Jordan Blank. They are in his team. He doesn't have anybody else. They're in his MC code. And this one couple, Kim and Ron, Kim obviously is on the phone, $50,000 a year just from them. And all he does is just give them a call to find out what's going on. So this is, because we keep hearing about all these numbers and this type of thing, but sometimes when you hear, you can just find the right person, bring them in your team, you can make a fortune. When it really happens, I want to point it out. I want to make sure that people who are on the call know that you and Ron are earning a guy, and you're in his MC code, and you're making him $50,000 in a year, and that is awesome.
But
I love it. Anyway,
and the neat thing is, so be encouraged that my husband hung up on Ray Monty and then signed up. So if you get hung up on, you're in good company.
Well, and also the thing, though, is Ron is kind of mean. He's just not a very nice person. He's
direct. He's direct. Yeah.
Thank God he married you, because for as mean as he is, as you are equally lovely. It's yin and yang,
Yeah, it totally is. On the softer side. Yeah, totally. Yeah, because when he does trainings, the women come up to me and goes, I could totally never say that. I said, no, that's just for the Ron's world. Here's what you want to say. Oh, that's so much better. So, yeah.
But there are other people who relate to Ron 100%. That's why you two are the perfect couple. And in fact, I want to cover that at some point, further down. What's it like to run, the business as a couple? But I kind of wanted to, ask a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Have you finished doing your little intro? I don't want to interrupt you.
I can't remember all the questions. Yes. Oh, and we have 2 children. We have a 6-year-old who was actually 12 weeks old when we started with Ambit. So I was in my 40s, recovering from a C-section, and doing this business. And I remember being so exhausted and pulling out that script for asking for a favor and gathering customers. And, one thing I wanted to mention, for our first 29 business, almost 2.5 years, we're in this business, we could not become our own first customer or get free energy. So we went on our first 5-star trip as an SC without our market even being open. So, just saying.
Just saying. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I think our market opened right before that trip, and so it was, So we just saw this, and I was like, I really want free energy. And my husband was like, just keep working, keep doing what you're doing, keep building. And when Delaware opened, we actually brought down Ambit's system because we added so many customers for the Delaware market, and Pico Gas.
The system down. Well, that's good. Right?
Yeah, I thought that's pretty good. So, because that's the thing is, do you want to just, if you're in a non-deregulated market, or you're in a market that's not Ambit's not as for service area, but people say, well, I'll wait until Ambit comes here. What I challenge them is, we had a team of 300 to 500 people. I can't remember at that time, calling on the state when it opened. Do you want just you calling on it, or do you want a huge army of people calling on the state, bringing down the system, adding so many customers on one day?
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. There's a lot of people. I've heard the same thing. Well, when Colorado opens, when Florida opens, when such and such opens, then I'll get started. I'm like, no. You want an army underneath you. So when it opens, all those customers come under you. Do you want to go in on your own, or do you want to go with 300 or 400 people underneath you? Fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's kind of dive in a little bit. This is kind of the nitty-gritty part.
Nitty-gritty. Go ahead.
Just got started, right? You're obviously starting as a couple, and you're supporting each other in the business, which is great. You have a brand new baby, and you're getting the business. And now Ron has experience from Excel, but did you have any experience in network marketing?
I dabbled a little bit with a company called Market America. It was product-based.
I know
great vitamins, great delivery system, but never did anything with it. So, and just ended up, because the more you got promoted, the more your monthly shipment had to be. So I finally just said, this is crazy. I stopped doing that. But Ron had done really well with Amway, and then back in the day he was an Emerald, and then did really well with Excel. And kind of wrote, and he was done with network marketing. So for him to take this back on was big news. So it was pretty exciting.
So here you are. So Ron has already had his experience, and you had a little bit of experience. What was it like at the very beginning? Sometimes when I ask that question, people go, "Oh, it was, it was this and it was that, and I did it wrong." And I would imagine when you got started, you kind of knew what to do. I would imagine you knew, what not to do.
Sure.
How was it for you at the beginning? Not from a personal standpoint with the baby. We'll cover that in a second. But how was it for you at the beginning when you first got started? Were you making mistakes, or were you kind of getting it right? Were you plugging into your upline to make sure you got things done right?
That's a great question. It was really at that point, Jordan was not active, our sponsor, so it was Ray, who had this humongous team. So it was really kind of like plug into the, he does a lot of live webinars and trainings, so I kind of like plug in and go figure it out and go attend the trainings. It was like, okay.
Right.
So, and actually what we divided and conquered. So it was my job to get our first customers. So I just, in my like sleep-deprived stupor, just read this script, and got 10 customers, got us 10 customer points. And Ron just recruited. So he recruited 6 consultants. I helped them all get customers. So and this is, again, we're not in Ambit service area. So we got them in Pennsylvania and supporting markets. I got my, 10 customers and helped everyone underneath us get customers. So we got promoted within 9 days. At that time, it was $429 to become a consultant. And we tripled the initial investment back in 9 days on a couple hours worth of work. And we thought, wow, this is stupid easy. And here we are, busting our butt, working in the insurance industry. We're now in the red. Let's just retire from this, and then let's do this full time. So we retired from that, and that was scary. That was, a huge leap of faith. Going, what are we doing? I mean, Delaware's not even open. Because we're not only looking for innovators, we're looking for visionaries at that point. And those of you who have any marketing experience, visionaries are your 1 to 3% of your market. You're looking for people who see this, who want to be at the right place in the right time. There's no really, indication like if they have the best technology, they're going to like this. There's no, it's not a bell curve you can place over, for energy deregulation. So it was just talking to a lot of people, and getting to senior consultant was a little bit slower than we liked, but that was fine. We missed the jump start by like a few weeks. I mean, not jump start, the fast track, for a few weeks. And then it took us a few years to get to EC. It took us a long time. Like we had 30 RCs in our SC code. It was just killer trying to get there. But we had a huge SC code and then brought us into our EC code. So in the beginning, it was, when I first learned customer gathering, I did that really well, and then I had to, we got our 10, Ron was like, you need to start recruiting, we need to start going wide here, we're now RCs, and we need to get the next promotion. So I had to learn how to recruit very quickly, and there's a lot of talk. I do too much talking, believe it or not, and entered into what we called, I know, really, what we called the Valley of Death. Like, I had a vacation home there. I got mail there. Like, I just talked so much and didn't let the video do the work that I kind of, swamped everybody. But, still some people came in, and by God's grace, we got promoted.
Let's kind of cover that. Let's kind of cover that part, because, again, I like to get to the real details.
Sure.
I'm getting two vibes from you here. When you first got started, you and Ron kind of, as you said, you divided and conquered, but it sounds like you were very intentional, and you had a very definite plan as to how you were going to execute it. Because I know a lot of people get started and they just kind of, will ask someone to be their customer, and then down the line they'll ask someone to be a consultant. You sound like you had a very definite plan. You were getting the customers. Ron was getting the consultants, and you got that done. Would you say that that's correct? You had a good, solid plan.
Absolutely, that we were divided. He's like, go do this. And he was very purposeful and that's why it's really important to really listen to your leaders. I mean, Ron just had experience. The compensation plan was very similar to Excel, so he was like, go do this, which is exactly what I do when I train new consultants. By Friday, do this. These 3 things I want you to go do. And so what he did to me is now what I do to our new consultants when I'm training them. Say, look,
what
I
are
don't
those
worry.
3 things?
Well, it depends on where they're at. So, for example, if they've just come on, I'll say, by Friday, I want you to go we're in the northern market, so, go sign up 8 customers. 1 can be from your home. You have until Friday. Call me. We're going to be talking every day, and you can call me several times a day. But that has to be done. We got to get that done, because you got to get those out of the way. And then we're going to just recruit. We're going to do it in-home. And then the next week, okay, we're going to do an income. You're inviting until you get 10 yeses. That's what you're doing the next week. All you're doing is inviting to get 10 yeses. Or you can use, some people can't even do the in-home. And I'll say, look, just send out our 5-minute video. Send that out. You do it 10 a day. And follow up on those 10. But your goal is at least to get 3 consultants, 2 or 3 consultants. Just start moving on that. and just start getting them into that recruiting shoe. Because what happens, I found, especially with women, they can get stuck on one side. Usually women come out of the gate very good at customer gathering. I had some women on my team, I got like 40, 50 customers, and I was like, stop it. You're going to learn to recruit. We're going to work on this.
Stop it.
I know, enough. And then I had some men who refused to ask for a favor and couldn't get the customers to get promoted. They had plenty of consultants but no customers. And I'm like, okay, we got to work on this. So, usually, generally speaking, men seem to be better consultant gatherers, not all the time. But whatever there is, you have to, what I usually look for as a leader to look for, let me exploit your gifting and then let me mentor you on your weakness to bring that up to one of your strengths as well. So
exploit gifting and then work on weaknesses.
Right.
Like that.
Right. Help them build on their weaknesses to make it a strength. So I'm kind of like, okay, this is where I see you're gifted at, or you're one of your strengths are. We're going to exploit that. You're like Mr. Popular or Mrs. Popular. Let's work on that. Let's use that to your advantage. Or
isn't that the truth? You hear that so often, don't you? That people say, "Oh, you got to work on your weaknesses. You got to build that up so it catches up with the other one." And I hear all the time, in a lot of the TED talks and type of thing. No. If you're really good at something, work on that and be really, really good at that.
Yeah, get better at that.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm glad you pointed that out for sure. But by the way, just real quick, I'm just gonna, those of you who are listening in, I've got a lot of women who are on the call. I know that. If you want to ask Kim a question, text the question, as Michelle was saying at the beginning of the call, to 214-766-4613. Again, 214-766-4613. We're very lucky to have Kim on the line. Please take advantage of this, and I promise I'll get to the questions as I can. But Kim, sorry for that little commercial break real quick, but I do want to I try to make the calls organic. Guys, give me the thumbs up when you like what you hear. Thumbs down if you don't like it. That's perfectly fine. But the second thing I was noticing, by the way, Kim, what you were talking about, first of all, you mentioned about being you had a real structure and very purposeful, but then you went vulnerable on me, and you said your problem was at the beginning you were just talking way too much. And I think a lot of people, especially in their first week, and I certainly was the same, as you can tell right now. I tend to talk a little too much as well. How did you stop yourself from getting dragged into the valley of death? Because Ron is expert at that. He's just rude and mean and can't get dragged into the valley of death.
Bless his heart.
I love
absolutely.
Ron to the bottom of my heart. Please, guys, don't think I'm picking on Ron. But how did you bite your tongue? How did you stop that happening?
It's funny. I was a struggle because I was, and from a sales background too. You want to go to that features benefit, routine, and you're like, so it was really, it was a really concerted effort. And my goal was, when we were going from RC to SC, my goal was 10 calls a day, 2 show the plans a day. So that was my goal every day. So eventually I learned, I had to, and Ron heard me a few times. He's like, you need to listen to one of these consultant gathering trainings. And I was like, I think I'm doing okay. He's like, no, you need to listen. So I would listen to it over and over again. And one thing I did, which helped me this is the one thing that really helped me, whenever I made my call, my son went down for his nap. That was my time to make my calls. So I had his nap scheduled, and I had a calendar request come up every day for the calls for a week. So I'd have it, Monday through Friday, whatever it was, 11 a.m. or whatever, 2 p.m. I had the 2 naps down, and would come up with my leads that I would need to follow up on my prospects for customers, my prospects for consultants. And those names would pop up, and every Sunday I would edit them. So I'd probably have a list of, 50 names or 100 names in there, and I would just keep editing that once a week. And that was how I reminded myself, because when you're a mom of a newborn, you can't even remember your own name, let alone who you're supposed to call that day. So you really need some help. So what I would do is, before I made my calls, I would listen to Brian McClure on the Top Ambit, Top Ambit Leaders, TopAmbitLeaders.com. Yep. I would listen to his section. There's 4 sections on making the call, on presenting, and I would listen to that 9-minute webinar every time, and I would listen to it and go, don't go in the valley of us, don't go in the valley of us. I would listen over and over. I would listen to it, and I'd be like, okay, go make your 10 calls, and I'd time them so they could be no longer than 6 minutes. So I had a little timer going, look, I don't have a lot of time. I'm really excited about this new business. I need you to take a look at this video. When's a good time for you to take a look at it? And that time was like 20 minutes long. It was forever and a day. And I was like, okay, look, what should I email it to you? Should I text it to you? What's the best way? Well, Kim, tell me about it. No, I can't. I got to go. I got to get my son. But can you do me a favor and look at this today? When's a good time for me to call you back? I get feedback. We'll catch up then. So I'd make the appointment for 7 o'clock, send him a text with the information or an email, and a reminder, okay, we're talking tonight at 7, remember. And so when my son was in bed, that's when I'd start making those follow-up calls again. And that's how I just did. But that video, I think it was the third one. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. What's it called? But I would watch that.
Paid?
No, it's not getting paid.
I'm sorry. Brian's third video. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure.
Anyway, I'm going to have to look it up as we're talking. But I would look at that over and over again before I made my calls. That's how I got out of it. And I was like, okay, just stay there, keep your time. And I would literally have them all done in an hour. So I'd make my 10 calls, they're 6 minutes apiece, and they were done. And that was it. That was all I had.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And here's what's interesting, again, listening. The one thing that is common amongst all of the interviews I do, and they're predominantly ECs. I was last week I was chatting to Paul Jenkins, who's top 50 income earner down here in Fort Worth, and the week before that was Darren McClure. And you may not know those names because they're obviously down here in Dallas. But the one thing I hear consistently from, even though your approaches are very different, Paul is a well-renowned introvert, very shy and introverted, and man of few words. Darren's in between you and Paul, and then there's you, who can talk a million miles an hour. But you know, each of the three of you disciplined yourselves to do what you needed to do to get the call short, sharp, sweet, to the point. But the one thing that I see consistently from one EC to the next is this posture and confidence and intentionality. Like when you said, look, you know, I just need you to do me a favor, take a quick look at the call. I don't have time to talk about it right now. I've got to go get my son. You're not even stopping. There's no hesitation. Well, no, please, you don't, if you don't mind. There's none of that. It's all posture. It's still you being lovely, feminine you, but you have this posture and confidence and intentionality, and that's what I see consistently amongst the ECs. I don't know if you can see. I'm sure it's the same up in New York and that kind of area as well, right?
I think once you get that confidence and you understand that you control the call, you control your business, it's your business. And no one else tells you when to open your business or close your business. This is how you do your business. And I think once you have that and you understand that, that's a huge mindset change. And I think that is really catapults you. And, oh, by the way, I looked it up. It's under Brian McClure's Top Ambit Leader. It's The Invitation, and I would watch that. That's how I got out the Valley of Death.
Yeah, and it is truly. It's the biggest mistake most folks talk about. You know, when we do our training, as you know, we have a purge call training we do on Sunday nights, and that's the one we always talk. You know, just like you did. You said, be in a hurry. That will save you from anything and everything. You can avoid not knowing the answer to a question. You can avoid someone saying, what is it? By saying, you know what, listen, I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now, but Kim, do you have a couple of minutes? I need to chat to you about something. Because then no matter what you get dragged into, you can say, listen, I've got to get on that conference call. I can't deal with it right now. I've got to get going. That one little tip, that one little trick gives you posture and gives you a way out when you're first started. Because, again, the one thing I see in all these ECs is this wonderful confidence and posture, and it's kind of like inside them. How do you duplicate that to folks who don't necessarily have that confidence? How do you help your team? You've got those 3% who will go out and just go and do it. And then you've got the group of people who are just, going to sniff at it and not do anything. And then you have this group in the middle who are not the go-getters necessarily, but they want it really badly, and they want to know what to do, but they just don't have your talent. How do you duplicate
I role play with them.
Clark?
I role play with them. I role play with them because what works for Kim, what works for Ron, or what works for Richard might not work for Mary or Michelle or Jan or Joe. So I have to. So I instill that confidence, and I try to trip them up. Okay, this is what you're going to encounter. So just to make it real, and I role play with them for customer gathering and consultant gathering. And the common questions and the common concerns, and you don't have to call anyone to answer my questions. You can just answer them. Well, I'm not getting it if you can't answer my questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or all the crazy, objections or crazy things your family and friends tell you because they love you and are crazy.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I agree with that 100%. I go to classes in the afternoon during the week on just business stuff and personal development, and I'm constantly working on personal development I would say every day, no matter what we're training on. There's always drilling and there's always role plays, and sometimes people go, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, if you want to be successful in Ambit, you don't want to do your practicing on a live customer or on a live prospect. You want to have got that out of the way before, right? And so I think that role-playing thing is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Love it.
And actually, I'll go first if they're a little hesitant. I'll pretend. Okay, pretend you're the prospect and I'm you. And then let's switch and you try it. And I have them do it a few times till they get it down, until it's smooth. And then I'm like, and it's theirs. You know what I mean? It's their language. The fundamental is the same, but they've wordsmithed it, so it's theirs. It's kind of like muscle memory. The more you do it, it becomes muscle memory. You don't have to think about riding a bike or driving a car. You just do it because you've done it so much, and you've gotten over that awkward period.
I agree. I think that's wonderful. I couldn't agree with you more. So you've been through the MC stage. You've been disciplined. You've been very good. You've gone into an RC and you got to SC a little slower than you wanted. Now you're truly leaders. And you'll agree with me when I say that your business really starts when you're an SC in the business. Nothing wrong with MC and RC, but that's kind of like the training program. We can get you through there. You can kind of fail your way to SC, but as SCs, now you have to be leaders. And again, you had a great advantage, being there with Ron. I know you're super talented yourself as well. But now you're leaders, and you've got people in your business that, for whatever reason, have come up against a stumbling block, and they can't push ahead. They're RCs in the business. They had some momentum at the beginning. They got going. They've been to some trainings, not maybe they're not going to business presentations every week, well, whatever it is, but they've reached a point where they can't seem to move forward. They're still there. They're still turning up. How do you help someone overcome the hurdle? Sometimes you kind of disappear up your own backside and you say, I haven't got a customer. I haven't got a consultant. I can't push. How do you help those people move forward?
It's a great question, and kind of tail on kind of the beginning of that. I would say, even though Ron had the experience initially, the thing that helped me become successful and learn this business is because I was teachable and coachable. Ron, I learned from Ron. And a lot of any of the EC factories, I was, I really checked my ego at the door. I had ran worldwide sales divisions for IT companies, and I hadn't made a dime at Ambit. And I looked at Ray Monty, and I was like, he's made, at that time, several million. I'm going to just check my ego at the door and just do what he says. He says, don't enter the valley of death, don't do this. I'm going to do that. And sometimes I find when people get stuck, they've kind of gone rogue and not even realized it. They've kind of gotten off the system, and they're, I don't do it that way. I do it this way. Oh, well, do any of the leaders do it that way? No, that's probably why. Let's get you back on the system. Let's do a 2-on-1. Let's do some role playing. Let's look at your list. And a lot of times people will who promote very quickly will burn through their warm market very quickly. And they'll get to SC very quickly, but then kind of fizzle out, because then they don't know how to recruit in a cold market, how to network. And so that's a whole new skill set. You have to work on them and teach them, and, how to present to business owners. So you kind of have to really work on them with that. And sometimes they don't even realize that's a problem or that's an issue. They're kind of in denial. And then if they're not teachable and coachable, your chances of bringing corrections, bringing them back in is like near impossible, because you're like, I only have so much time. I don't want to wrestle you to the ground every time we're talking. You either need to do it to follow the system, or this is just going to fizzle out. You need to become teachable and coachable. You need to do this. And a lot of times when I bring someone on, I'll ask them, this is a great opportunity for teachable or coachable. Can you promise me that you're going to be teachable and coachable? And they'll say, oh, yes, no problem, Kim. I said, look, if you stray, I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to bring it up to you. And there's been quite a few times I'm like, remember when we started, you said you're going to be teachable and coachable. You need to trust me on this, or else it's not going to work. So
someone slow down. You, first of all, you get with them, you sit down with them, you get on a call with them. Is that what you do? And then
I can meet with them live. And
right.
I mean, we have this with a few of our consultants. A lot of times it's personal development issues. A lot of times it's personality issues. A lot of times it's they're managing their business instead of recruiting. There's just a lot of times they're just in the valley of death and taking 3 hours for a show the plan. I mean, there's a lot of crazy things that people are doing that you're like, whoa, where did we learn this? So it's kind of just kind of sitting down with them and kind of talking with them and kind of seeing it. And, of course, normally you kind of get whiffs of it beforehand, and you're kind of talking to them and gently kind of nodding them. But they have to get kind of done with themselves and done with doing it their own way before you can really help them.
Yeah, they've kind of got to get it out of their system almost.
Right, kind of realize banging their head against the brick wall. You got to get help, and you got to get help and someone to help you go around it, or whatever changes you need to make in your in your business and your approach, whatever it is, whatever area you're not following.
And I couldn't agree more. I do pretty much exactly the same thing. I agree entirely. Mm-hmm. Sit down with the person in front of them and say, look, you want my help? Okay, first of all, I need your permission to allow me to coach you.
Right.
And that which just means, you got to be coachable in order for me to coach you. And then you do. I mean, there was one particular gentleman I was coaching fairly recently, and he's super. He's a lovely guy. He's he's really personable, and I'm thinking, why isn't this guy a rocking senior or something? He's been stuck as a baby RC for the longest time, and during the coaching, he gets a call from a customer, and bang, the guy changes. His personality completely changes to a slightly overly obsequious salesperson without intentionality, without purpose. And I'm like, there it is, right there in front of me. The problem, and that's why I think you're absolutely right, is to see what people are really doing. Right. Not what they're telling you they're doing, but what they're really doing. I think that was very, very observant of you, and I think that's like super important. So if you're listening to this call and you have people in your team who are doing this, then that's a great way to approach it. But also be on the other side of that. If you are the person who's struggling and can't move ahead, first of all, plug into your upline or crossline or someone who's going to sit down and help you, and then be vulnerable and be coachable and allow them to take you back to the basics, back to the system that's worked for people for the last 10 years, and just allow that person to help you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And be teachable, and like just swallow that pride and know that, I want to be where you're at, and I need to do what you're telling me I'm going to do it. I talked to this one woman who's another network marketing company, and she's considering coming on board with Ambit, and she does product-based business, and she can't get over asking for the favor. And I'm like, don't come on then. I don't want to waste my time. I'm telling you right now, if you're not teachable and coachable and you're not going to trust me, this isn't going to work. Because if it's not going to work here, it's going to work throughout all of it. You've got to trust me. How much money have you made with Ambit Energy? She's like, nothing. I'm like, we're the top incomers for the state. You've got to trust me. If you're sick, you go to the doctors. You don't go to the mechanic. You know nothing about this business. Right. You got to trust me. I do. I know this business well. You got to trust me. And so you really need that trust. I'm like, you need that. So that's, I don't know, I find that to be paramount to being successful.
Yeah, no question. And again, documentation beats conversation. You are the top income earners there up in Delaware. You've got all of those accolades that took me 5 minutes to read out for a reason. And so someone's got to sit back and they got to listen. So, all right. So you've been the MC and very good. You did a great job as being MCs, much better than I did. Your RC, you were a little slow. Your SC did well, and now you're building leaders. And I was actually chatting with Frank Schmeling tonight. And we were talking about it, and I said, look, I find it really hard to conceive the money that he makes. I mean, it's just like, so much money. It gets up into the six figures in a month. when he, in good months and this type of thing. And I'm like, I find it so hard to conceive that. I'm doing well, but nothing like that. And I said, what do you do as a senior? What do you do? How do you get from that few hundred or few thousand or thousand or whatever to the prospects of 10,000 and 20,000 and 40 or 50,000 in your business? And he says, Richard, you've got to build leaders. You've got to find people who want to lead and then teach them how to be leaders. Some will be already leaders. Some you have to coach. And what are your thoughts about that?
And I agree. I look for leaders. I look for people that are dynamic, who are lead, but they have to be teachable and coachable. I mean, there's some leaders out there that you're like, whew.
Yeah. Leading to teach.
You're like, you're killing me here. There's so much potential if you would just humble yourself. And you just plug in and, you'd follow the system and you'd listen to what we have to say. And sometimes, people, they don't want to. And so, you are looking for leaders. You're looking, I think business owners have a natural proclivity to this business because they look at this and go, wait a minute, the initial investment is what? The upside is what? No brainer. Yeah. Let's just do this. And I've got 10 bills right here, done. So, business owners are very good at this. And so they're natural leaders, but again, they have to be teachable and coachable as well. So, absolutely. So you're looking for, the top dog, the leader, but you're also kind of telling them, look, you got to trust me on this. You got to do it this way because it's not going to work. How you ran this business, it doesn't convey. So a lot of times, a lot of times there's not an issue, and sometimes there is. And if there's too much of an issue, I put Ron on them, and they just back right down.
Ron's scary, though. I'm scared of Ron. I mean, who isn't scared of Ron?
No.
Here's one thing, though, I wanted to kind of add to that, because you're absolutely right. If you want to learn how to build good leaders, is to be a good follower. And you hear that phrase, to be a good leader, be a good follower. Well, to tie that down rather than it being just a platitude that's out there, the way to learn to become a good follower, you've got your opportunity in your MC and RC code to learn to be like you were. Like you said, I'm going to leave my ego at the door despite all those huge successes you've had. I'm going to leave my ego at the door. I'm going to listen to what Ray said because he made a few $1 million in this business, and I'm going to be coachable. And so during your MC code, RC code, you were coachable to Ron, obviously your husband, and to Ray, and you've now got to this position where you were then an SC. And then then finding leaders and teaching leaders became so much easier because you were such a great follower during your MC and RC period, right?
Yeah, so what we did, one thing that really helped us to go to SE to EC is I would have 90-day challenges that we had continually, and the competition was fierce. So I took the 5-star points from the 5-star, made an Excel spreadsheet, and did it weekly for all of our, everyone in our SE code could participate, and they got points for the same thing you use for the 5-star, you use for the points, because I'm like, pretty soon you're going to be SCs, you're going to need to be following us because you need to get in this 5-star trip. So, and I had them send it to me every week, and I would have, whatever it takes, and I would have guest speakers on. I get Brian McClure, I got Miriam Waito, just the giants in Ambit. I would get them to speak and share, their best practices. And then whoever won that week and got the most points, I would give them an award. I present them at the business presentation meeting, and I give them like a little Ambit bag. I created Ambit, really nice, professionally done Ambit thank you notes for customer gathering. So it was, people were like, those certificates are still hanging in people's offices. So, and that's how we got 30 RCs in our SC code. That's why we built such a huge organization, is just to kept, and what they would have to do, they also have to send me a list of their top 10 prospects they're talking to this week. So, and then we had a time we would talk to individuals. I have 10-minute touches. And then I would ask them, okay, what's going on with Sue? What's going on with John? What's going on with Paul? And I'd say, okay, look, this is your next step. By Friday, I want you to do X, Y, and Z with these 10 prospects. So, I was really, I remember one of my RCs was like, wow, Kim, you have such a good memory. I'm like, no, I have it all written down. Like I had my number.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I know you do.
I had my number to EC on a calendar request that happened Monday through Friday, and it would pop up and it would tell me like each of these 30 RCs, their number to SC, and would tell me their top 10 prospects. So I would just update this every time I talked to them every day, and so I would know where they're at. And so I did it I probably didn't talk to them every day. I probably talked to them about once or twice a week. and just kind of get them focused, because I was like, and this is what you need to do for your team. This is what you're going to have to do. So I really held them accountable and just really kind of pushed them to that higher level. And that got us to, again, a huge SC code, got us on that first 5-star trip, and got us to EC.
Yeah, that's impressive. And I have to say that for those of you who are potential power couples on the call, of which I know we've got quite a few on the call who are couples building the business together, that's one of the advantages that you do have, is that, of course, when Ron's doing his part and you're doing your part, there's maybe a little bit more time for you to knuckle down on. I'm just going to do the 90-day challenges. I'm going to call everybody every day, because Ron is out there doing the other side of the business. Is that right?
Right. So he's pretty much was doing the in-homes, and what we did, we would rotate on the meetings. At that time, we're having 3 meetings a week. So one week I would do them, and then he would be home with the kids. And the following week, he would do them. And we'd just swap them out with the kids, and because initially, I was just doing it, or he was just doing it, and one of us was missing either the family or the consultants, and we're like, we got to balance this. So, there's many times where I left a 2-year-old in tears and, a 13-year-old hormonally crying.
And Ron hormonally
My husband's like, just go, I've got this. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, good luck. All right. Yeah,
all right.
That is so true. I know there's a lot of parents on the. I know Mary always used to say, she'd have one of her daughters hanging onto her leg.
That's what it was
trying to walk out the door.
No, it was both of them. It was both of them. It was crazy, and I'm like, peel the kids out. And I'm thinking, Mom, I should stay home, and he's like, go. You've got to go. And it's just rough. It was rough. Yep, that was it.
So tell me about the in-home. So you're doing your business, the side on the 90-day challenge, and you're changing with Ron, and that's fine, and that's probably a good idea, so that you're both, tuned on both sides of the business. But the in-homes, how many in-homes were you doing a week?
So what we would do is we were averaging 2 or 3 business meetings a week, but then we did in-home. So you do an in-home, and then that was probably once or twice a week. So literally 5 nights a week we were out at the evening. And we just kept doing those. Or, we do them on Saturdays, sometimes Saturday morning, or sometimes Sunday afternoon, depending on their schedule. But we would try to do at least 2 a week, and that's how we've got 20 levels deep, is because we would do an in-home, then they would schedule them for them, and then you just keep going, you keep drilling down, and that's how we built those levels down. Right.
So as you have your in-home, obviously you have those few people who join right there and then. And the first thing you're doing with them is getting plugged into the system, but also, when are you going to have your in-home? And then when they have the success, when they have people joining at their in-home, you're finding out when are they going to have their in-home, and you just keep driving deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I know I'm laboring the point here, but we have some brand new MCs.
Absolutely.
And, we're talking this lingo, and I want to make sure they understand exactly what we're talking about, because the in-homes are, Kim and Jim Mason, got to MC in 3 years and millionaire status in 3 years, because they were just the in-home king and queen. They just built their whole business that way. So, fantastic. I got a couple of texts coming through. Joe Fowble says he's not scared of Ron because he cares. I'm like, yeah, you're scared of Ron. Joe, don't even pretend you're not scared of Ron. I know you're scared of Ron. Everybody's scared of Ron.
Tell him Joe Fowble, you're a wise man.
No, let me tell you, right after that, he says he's not scared of Ron because he cares, and also because I know Kim's there to protect me. Then I've got a question. I don't know who it's from, because it's, hold on, where is it? Oh, this is JJ Swiger in North Texas. He's got a question for you, and I'm assuming he's asking you how do you invite someone, because he says, or the question is what is her intro line? So I'm guessing that's asking what is your invite? What do you say to people to invite them to business? And I know that's a general question because it does depend, but what is your stock invite?
My personal stock invite is, I kind of just, now I'm very particular, because now I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for really sharp people. And, I'm looking for people that I'm like, because I only have so much time. And if I have to get you over yourself and get you over your fears and create a leader. But if I have someone that I'm like, ooh, they're very successful, this could, they have a huge sphere of influence, this would really work. So I would just say, hey, look, you know what? I can do it 1 or 2 ways depending on how it's going. Is, hey, what? I have a business. I really want to get your feedback on it. Can we have coffee? I can sit down with you, or can I just text you this video and just get your feedback on it? And I edify them. I've always really admired your business acumen. You always just seem to be really sharp. Everything, you have the Midas touch. Everything you seem to touch turns to gold. And I really value your opinion. If I can get your feedback on this, that would be great. So in the beginning and kind of the, RCSC period, I kind of did that. Now in DC, I'm kind of looking at people. And normally I do a lot of Bible studies. I teach a lot of Bible studies. People just come to me and I do a lot of just counseling for certain people, and they're saying, could you pray for me? My husband lost his job. My hours are being cut. I might lose the house. And, I'll say, of course I'll pray for you, but I have something that I think you should take a look at. Let's have coffee. And so I just kind of show them that. And I start with, hey, look, there's 2 things I want to accomplish today. 1, I want to show you why I'm so excited about this for you and for me. And 2, I want to introduce you to my business partner. So, we all work together, and I really want to introduce you. So I'm going to show you a video, and then I'm going to make a phone call and introduce you. So when the video is done, I can say, hey, can you see why I'm so excited about this? And next, as promised, I'm going to introduce you to my business partner. So I transition that 3-way call. Yeah. It's not like, do you have any questions? Wait, hold on, let me dial them, or let me keep them on hold, or something bizarre. Yeah, I can't tell you 3 ways I've done that. I'm like, am I there? Am I on hold? And they're texting me going, I have you on mute, and I'm like, this is crazy.
This is what a. Let me. I'm gonna again. We're getting on a little bit here. It's almost the hour, and I apologize for keeping on the phone so long. But this is such good meat and potatoes, guys. On the call, listen to what Kim was saying there. Very often people find it very hard to segue into a 3-way call. What a beautiful way of preempting that segue issue. What I mean by a segue is how one converts from showing the business to then getting someone on the call to do a 3-way call. What a wonderful way to say, look, I want to accomplish a couple of things by showing you this business. Is first of all, I want to show you why I'm so excited about it. But secondly, I want to introduce you to my business partner. That is awesome.
Yeah, and it's done.
Awesome. I love it.
Because women get nutty when you show them. They're like, oh, don't call Ray. Don't call. No, I'm afraid to call. I don't have any questions. I'm going to keep asking me 50 questions. But ask him one of the 5. I'll help you out. No. Oh, goodness. No. Like, look, he's really down there. I'm dialing now. And then you're making them mad, because I'm like, so now I'm like, it's just done. And if someone still is like, after that, if they're like, don't call Ray, I'm like, you know what? This business isn't right for you. Would you like to become a customer?
Take it away. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. So we're just to final up because we've got 3 minutes left. And again, I really appreciate you being on the call for as long as you have. But
sure.
That hour flew by. I'm telling you.
It did.
Let's just talk about a couple of things that I always like to talk to everybody about. There's still some people who haven't registered for Ambition. I know Ambition is a very big deal for you. It certainly is for me. What are your thoughts about Ambition and why you think people should be going to Ambition, especially they've just got started in the business and they've just spent $75, $100 to get started, and now you hear the phrase, now you're asking me for another $149, $169, whatever it is. Why should someone who's just got into the business be spending another $149, $169 to go to an event that is 6 months away? Why should they do that?
Because consultants who go to Ambition and attend events, simulcast Ambition, traditionally earn 80% more than those who do not.
There you go, 80% more.
80%. Yeah. I mean, I think it's 89, and it's unbelievable. And each year you go, the more people you bring, the more you will make. Period. I mean, because that's how Ambit gets in you. You see this, you get envisioned by it, you meet the owners, you hear them, you realize this is, and you see people on stage who are blind or who have some certain handicap or live in Alaska or ECs, Janelle Klein, who are doing this remotely, and you're like, I have no excuse. I need to get going. There's no.
Well, I know when I started the business, I business made sense. I was a business owner, loved it in every single way, but I was riddled like a horrible diseased man with stigma that I'm doing one of those businesses, and I'm talking to my friends when they know me as a proper businessman. I started in December, so I had to go all the way through the year with that stigma, fighting through it until I got to Ambition. And I can tell you, I went to Ambition. I went there every day. I didn't stay in the hotels, but I went every day, came home because I live in Dallas, of course. But by the time I'd left Ambition, I was wearing an Ambit T-shirt. I had my Ambit cap on. I had my Ambit pom-poms. I was like, what the hell was I thinking?
It's like that 18-inch drop from Ambit in your head to Ambit in your heart. I can only describe it as that. In Christianity, we call it that when, that drop comes in your heart and it's in you, and that's exactly what happens with Ambition. It's necessary. There is no leaders. There is no one that makes any significant income who does not attend major events, period.
Right.
And it's kind of like if I were to tell you, you can't be successful in this business unless you attend events. Or if I was telling you a job, you're never going to make more than a few $100s or a couple $1,000s unless you go to these events.
Right.
You'd go. You'd make a way to go. You'd figure it out. I mean, it's like you can't, like McDonald's, you got to go there for training. You got to go to Ambition for the training. Yeah. And also the attendee-only bonuses. We make the bulk of our money after simulcast and Ambition throughout the year because the bonuses are so huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and again, if it wasn't important, the whole of the floor of the American Airlines Center wouldn't be filled with ECs and NCs.
Exactly, yep.
I mean, that is just the proof of it. And then, okay, so I'm going to give you the kind of the final word because I'd like people to have an idea of what it's like to be an EC. I did a little post in Facebook the other day. I know you guys aren't on Facebook anymore, but I did a little post there.
I still am. Ron's taking a hiatus, but I pop in like twice, 3 times a week. He was on like several times a day and had to take a break.
Yeah, I saw Ron every time. There'd be something coming up from Ron about some political post here, some political post there. But anyway. There's something, I put a post on there and I said, all the ECs and NCs who are looking at my post here, could you just take a photograph of what you're doing right now? And it was 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And it just got filled up with ECs with their kids. One EC was in the gym. Another EC was on the golf course. But no one was in a cubicle. No one was, doing that job thing. You guys are super successful up there in Delaware. What is the success you've had now? I mean, you guys have done so well. What does it feel like? And I'm not talking I'm talking viscerally, in your heart. What does it feel like for you and Ron to be EC and to know you have that financial freedom attached? What does that really feel like viscerally? Not talking to me because I know you guys. We got a lot of people on the call, and we got a lot of people on the call that are holding on to every word you say. What do you have for those folks? What does it feel like to be an EC? And those who are still MCs and RCs and ECs seem so far off. Why should they stick at it? Yeah,
and the only way this business doesn't work is to quit. So that's the only way this business doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. The system's broke. It's quitting. And for us, I mean, being an EC and having that financial freedom, I mean, I wrote a book. I'm in the process of getting that traditionally published. I now speak on that book. I've been on the radio. I've been on so many people have asked me to speak on this because it's just so motivational and so encouraging. It's about seeking God, going through trials. I've went back to, I'm now a professor in marketing. It's enabled me to buy my time back to serve just the students in the college kids. I've been able to do what I've wanted to do. And Monday we had it was an all-day funeral for a dear lady that we know and love, 97 years old, 26 great-grandchildren, 11 grandkids. And we were able to go all day to the funeral and, to the burial site and really just stand alongside that family because they've stood alongside us for so many years that, and the woman, when we went to the receiving line, the woman who we know said, wow, praise God for Ambit because you don't have to take off or anything. And that's right. So true. I mean, I ran a marathon in January of this year, which, I mean, that's like training for that. It's like a part-time job. I mean, you're running 40 miles a week, which is incredible.
I saw the picture.
It's insane.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's insane. So, to do all that, and now Ron wants to run called the Dopey Challenge, which is 49.6 miles in 4 days. It's a 5K, a 10K, a half, and a full. I ran the marathon by myself, so I don't know. So he used to run marathons when he was in his 20s, but it's a big difference now that you're older. So we'll see. But so that'll be another full-time. That'll probably be a full-time training job. So we have that freedom to do that. Just yesterday we were like, you know what? We picked up our son at the bus stop. There's no two parents that are at the bus stop dropping him off and picking him up. There's no two parents that go on field trips. There's no two parents that are at all the games my son plays or my daughter plays. There's no two parents who pick him up and say, you know what? I think today's an ice cream day. Let's go to Dairy Queen. I mean, that's
that's
what that means. That's what it means.
That's amazing. But that's it. That's perfect. And for those, we've got a few people on the call who are, been at RCs longer than they want to be. Why should they stick at this? What is it? What words of encouragement have you got for them?
Gosh, because your next person you can talk to could be a Richard Laidler, could be a Ron and Kim Clark, could be a Ray Monty, could be a Brian McCrory. You just don't know what that next conversation is going to bring. And wouldn't you hate to give up right before the miracle, right before the deluge of blessing? So just keep going. Just keep going. You'd never know. And this works. And if you're struggling, get help. Go to your upline. Go to some leaders, someone you identify with, and you're like, I could use some mentoring. Check your ego at the door and do what they say.
Perfect. Wonderful. Did you have anything else that you wanted to sign off on, or are we done?
Just that you rock. Thank you so much for having me, Richard. And I just pray blessings upon your team and their business. And you're awesome, like always. So anything for you, it's our pleasure. Give our love to Jasmine.
You say yes, of course. Yes, she's actually working right now. So she's busy there. She'll be home. I'll have dinner ready for her because I'm just such a lovely husband. I'm lovely like that.
You are. You rock. You rock. In more ways than one.
And thank you for keeping Ron off the line, by the way.
Sure.
He really would have ruined the call.
It's all good. It's all good. Oh my gosh, she's
Kim,
thrown under the bus.
So much.
Sure.
Trust me. I know, and trust me, I know something's coming my way for saying all this about him. By the way, everybody, you do need to know Ron is lovely, and he's my best buddy in Ambit, and that's the reason why I could be so mean. I love Kim and Ron so much myself. But Kim, I know you're super busy, with everything you're doing, and I appreciate you giving us the time this evening. I know it's an hour ahead here, so it's gone 11 o'clock, past your bedtime, my lovely.
It is.
And I appreciate you giving us all that time. Thank you so much. I've had so many comments and thumbs up as we've been speaking, so I'll send some of those through to you. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you very much, my lovely.
You're the best, and it's my pleasure. God bless you guys.
All right, thank you. Super. All right, guys, well, thank you very much for bearing with us. That's probably the longest call I've ever done, but truly, I am not getting off the call when we have this much information coming in. It's awesome. Guys, thank you so much for getting on the call. We've got the Sunday Purge call coming up this Sunday, of course. We'll have a brand new guest. And I'm getting more and more comments. I'm getting the best ever call. This is the best. Tell Kim, thank you so much. I'm getting all of this stuff. Kim, thank you. People are still saying, I needed this. The McNeil's, I needed this. This is going to be the best thing. Yeah. Trust me, they're all coming in. I can't read them fast enough. Thank you again. Guys, we've got the Purge call coming up this Sunday. Guys, get on that call. I would really appreciate it. Again, thank you very much, Kim, for getting on the call. And guys, have a super night. Sleep well. Plug in to your team. Listen to this call again. I'm going to have it recorded. Send your teams to be able to listen to this call. It'll be on my Facebook page, EC Riders. Guys, again, thank you very, very much, and have a super night. I'm going to open the lines up so you can say thank you to Kim, and good night, everybody. I'm opening the lines up right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Kim. Love from northeastern Pennsylvania.
Hey, Joe Fauble. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the call. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad. Glad I blessed you.
Awesome call. Thank you both.
Great.
Awesome call. Thank you.
Sure. Welcome.